Hey there, welcome to another episode of Mindfully Well with Mel. I'm your host, Melissa. And today we're diving into something I hear from women every single day. Nothing I do works anymore. I just can't lose weight no matter how hard I try. If you've ever looked in the mirror and thought my body's working against me, or you stepped on the scale after weeks of doing all the right things only to see the number going up instead of down, I want you to know you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not crazy. You're not losing your mind. That feeling in your body and that it's not working for you and that it just simply doesn't work, it's not in your head. When midlife women tell me nothing I do works anymore, I know exactly what they mean because I've actually been there myself. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 hidden factors that are likely causing your weight loss resistance, things that go way beyond calories in and calories out. These are the reasons why approaches that worked in your 30s suddenly stop working, and why your afternoon energy crashes no matter how much sleep you get, and why your body seems determined to hold on to every single pound. This isn't just theory, it's what I've discovered through not only helping hundreds of women overcome these challenges, but through my own personal health journey. It left me really confused, frustrated, and wondering if I would ever feel like myself again. So if you're tired of trying everything while feeling like nothing works, today's episode is going to be just for you. Let's dive in. All right, my friends, let's talk about some weight loss resistance today. I want to tell you first about my own journey because I think that this is an important piece for you to hear because it's very easy to get distracted, especially in the online world, that if somebody says, weight loss resistance or somebody says hormones or somebody says gut health, you think that they know exactly what they're talking about and that they must know more than you do. But here's the thing, if the person hasn't actually experienced this in their own physical body, they can only take you so far. They can only take you as far as what their brain can tell them from what they learned. But when somebody has fully experienced this in their mind and their physical body, and their spirit and their emotions, that person can take you so much further in your journey. And so that's what I'm here today to tell you about my story. About that, also, I'm going to give you 3 tips or 3 reasons as to why I see these are the biggest reasons why women are stuck. And you might be surprised that it's not going to be all physical reasons. There are other very deep, meaningful reasons as to why you're not feeling at home in your body, why you're not feeling in your skin. So going back to when I first began coaching, I was the words of weight loss resistance didn't have a true meaning to me. I thought that it was just a fear. Like for me, it was a fear within me. I truly growing up, I did hear often that once you reach a certain age, you'll never be able to lose weight again. Enjoy your metabolism while you're young. How many of you heard that? And it was all driven from fear, but it was never actually driven from true actual science. I thought you just become someone who can't have the body that you want once you reach a certain age. And this means both how you look and how you feel in your body. I believe that they are one within each other. When you look good, you typically feel good and vice versa. Now, there is definitely some room for error here because we all know that we've maybe been at a weight before where we seemingly had a body that looked really good in photos, but physically we felt miserable. I've been there before when I did bodybuilding. Pictures looked great. You could see all my muscles, but I was not in a good spot whatsoever. So there is definitely some room for error there when we talk about that. But overall, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you look good. They play off of each other. So when I was working with these clients, when I first began coaching, it felt so confusing to me as a coach because everything I had been taught up until this point led me to believe that the client just wasn't doing the work. And just like what you see out there online is that the world is telling you if you're not getting what you want, you're not working hard enough, you're doing something wrong. And if you can't lose weight or have the things you want, you're just not doing it right. You're not working hard enough. And eventually I was like, I'm going to figure this out because I don't think that it's a coincidence that I get women after usually the age of 35 and all of them, it's so hard to get the scale to move up a pound. It's so hard to get their body to respond to anything that we're doing. So I thought something's up here and I'm going to figure this out. And as I transitioned to more of a functional approach in my coaching, this is when God gave me my own journey as well. And I started going through my own health issues. I was reacting to almost everything I ate except for water, although sometimes I will be honest, that was questionable as well because it was like anything I put in my body, I would bloat, I would be uncomfortable, I would have gas, daily bowel movements never happened, and I was tired, so tired all the time. And this is the kind of tired that you can't even really explain to somebody who's never experienced it what it actually feels like. The best way I can explain it is that it felt like I had 10-pound weights on both of my legs. And then at night, my sleep just wasn't productive. I had night sweats like no other. And this isn't a hot flash. I can't say that I've actually had a hot flash at this point, but I've had night sweats, and these are different. So night sweats, and it was so bad that at night I'd have to get up every single night and change my clothes, sometimes twice, because I was just drenched. And I know it wasn't a hot flash because I wasn't actually hot. I was actually usually cold by the time I woke up, because I was wet. I was full of sweat. And this is just your body trying really hard to detox at night. It's trying to heal, it's trying to recover, and it's trying to get rid of things at night when you're sleeping. And so this is detoxing, although your body shouldn't have to go to that extreme every night when you sleep to detox. So, hey, bright red flag here, right? Get my attention. My body's really trying hard to get my attention. The other thing is that my muscle was slowly deteriorating. What was once maybe like a very great physique, I was now becoming what the term would be, and I don't love the term, but I don't know how else to describe it, is like skinny fat. So that meant I didn't have any muscle. I didn't look overweight, but the amount of body fat that was on my body compared to muscle was not a healthy amount, right? I didn't have enough muscle to kind of offset my body fat. So my body fat took over and I wasn't strong. I wasn't healthy. And my body fat just kept growing and growing and growing. So I watched my muscles slowly go away, even while working out, even while eating the protein, and even while checking all the boxes for muscle growth. So when I say I know what you're feeling, I really know what you're feeling. On top of losing muscle, I began to add body fat, enough to where I had to buy new clothes, or I only wore my go-to black leggings. And I was embarrassed. I was confused. Even though I really tried hard to love my body through it, I was resentful because I was a healthy person. I ate clean, I tracked my macros, I lifted the weights, and still this was happening to me. And I also am smart. I know the things I need to do to create a healthy body. Why was my body doing this to me? And it felt very unfair. But here's the thing that I learned on my journey is that God does things to prepare you for the next phase in your life, to step up to the next calling. And if I had to experience this to help you resolve your health issues as well. Because I'm no good to you if I can't be empathetic and truly hold space for your experience. So I sought out a lot of advice out there. I hired different coaches. Each one brought one thing to the table, but nobody brought the whole enchilada. I had to go out and seek the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. I had a functional health coach. Then I'd have a weight loss coach. And then I'd have a coach that helped me on my stress. And then I had a coach that helped me on my deep mindset. My friends, this is the missing piece out there. This is what you're missing, the whole enchilada. Because you don't need to just hyper-focus on hormones. You don't need to hyper-focus on weight loss. You need it all together to truly get where you're going. You need someone who can see that whole picture because they all feed off of each other. If you hyper-focus on weight loss, you're going to miss your stress getting out of hand. If you hyper-focus on mindset, you're going to miss the fact that you're not detoxing your hormones. It's not one, it's all of them. And going through this journey really allowed me to see that there are so many missing elements out there. And you deserve each element when you make your investment in a coach or a coaching program. So now that you know my journey, and now that you know that this is just what I do day in and day out, this is what we do in Mindfully Well. I've coached hundreds of women, but I've coached hundreds of women, and I continue to do so every day in my program. Let's talk about the three most common reasons why somebody would have weight loss resistance so you can be able to see yourself in this picture. And I'm incorporating the elements that are missing out there that bring them all together, because this isn't just a physical issue. This isn't just a mindset issue. This isn't just a stress issue. This is a whole entire being issue. Just like our physical body, our heart will speak to our gut. Our gut speaks to our brain. Our brain speaks to our liver. Like, they all talk to each other. They are all communicating. We are one being, even though we have different organs that have one specific job. They all talk to each other. And you yourself as an entire being are not just a physical body. You're an emotional body, you're a spiritual body, you are a mind body. And we have to bring all of these together if we're really going to seal this deal, if we're really going to bring you all the way to the point where you truly feel comfortable and you feel at home in your body. Whether that's weight loss, whether that's fat loss, whether that's balancing your hormones, feeling less stressed in your body, all of it matters. No matter what number you have in your mind on what you think you should weigh or what size pants you should have, it all matters. So the first factor causing weight loss resistance, we're going to go into the physical aspect here because that's always more tangible. But the one that I've chosen to share with you today, of course, is the less tangible physical thing, and it's inflammation. And honestly, I hate that it's this one because it feels so vague. And I am always coaching people on, don't be black and white. You got to live in the gray. When you live in the gray, your answer will be there. When you live in black and white, you're trying to be perfect and you fall off of that every single time. And unfortunately, inflammation is gray. And I am somebody who loves black and white. I'm a nurse. My background is in science. I can tell you all the science things. It always feels very safe and like concrete, and we don't have to like bring ourselves into it to understand it. But inflammation, it feels very gray because I can't tell you exactly where it is. It's just kind of everywhere. It's vague. It's your entire body that's reacting to its environment. And we can't just go to one place and saying, this is the only thing that's inflamed. We'll just go there and fix it. And then boom, you're done. It's an entire body experience. And it's generally doing several things. But the easiest thing, I'm going to just give you one thing in this podcast episode, because if I give you 10 things, then you're overwhelmed and then you do nothing. So I'm going to give you one thing that you can do to reduce inflammation right away from this episode. And it's to, drumroll please, eat whole foods. You're like, oh my God, I just wish you wouldn't have said that. Say something else. Find something else for me to do, because that one is hard. We as Americans, and probably most of the world, we're just very confused on what whole foods actually is, because our whole food industry, or actually our processed food industry, has now tried to take over the whole food industry. And it feels very confusing. What's a whole food? What's not a whole food? Can it be in a package? Can it not be in a package? What if the ingredients say this? What if it says that? Like, where is the line on if it's a whole food or if it's a processed food? And again, this feels very gray, right? It's not black or white. But here's what I want you to know. Stop buying things that claim to be whole foods, but are in a package or a box in a way to skirt around the issue. If it was a whole food, typically it doesn't need a package unless the package is needed so you can carry that item out of the store. That's it. That's how we decide if it's a whole food or not. So eggs have to be in an egg carton. You probably don't want to carry 18 individual eggs out to your car. So they're going to be in a carton. But inside of that carton, it's one thing, and it's an egg. If you're going to buy chicken, your chicken is going to be in a container so you can scan it and pay for it and walk out the store with it. You probably don't want to carry a raw chicken breast to your car, right? I get that. But inside of that package, it's one thing. It's a chicken breast, right? So that's how we know that it's a whole food. We really you go to the frozen food aisle and all of a sudden there's a pizza cauliflower rice pizza crust with vegetables on it and chicken and red sauce. And you look at it and you're like, these are all whole foods. That's cool. But you don't take the time to actually look at the label and see what are all these names on here, because it's not tomatoes and it's not cauliflower and it's not just cheese and it's not just broccoli and peppers. It's a lot of words that make no sense to us because they're not in our kitchen. They're not in our pantry. We can't actually access these foods. So if you can't access the foods on that nutrition label, it's not a whole food. It's a food that has been tampered with and brought to a state on which it will not rot in the box that it's in. And if it's not going to rot in the box that it's in, it's going to go inside of your body and not be useful, not be as helpful. It's just going to bridge the gap between hunger and not hunger. That's about it. And when we use foods like that to get us through the day from one step to the next step, from hungry to not hungry, we're just putting a Band-Aid over our nutritional needs as humans and as especially women in midlife. We need true whole foods. We need foods in their most natural state as much as possible. Because those processed foods, those ingredients that you don't recognize, your body doesn't recognize them either. And it creates an inflammatory response to them. Because it's like, this thing, this chemical is not supposed to be in here. Let's attack it and try to get it out. And it does that over and over and over and over again. And you can see these impulses over and over are going to create an exorbitant amount of inflammation. And your body is trying hard to detox these quote unquote foods that aren't foods. And your detoxification system gets really weighed down. And now the things that you would normally be having to detox day in and day out, just as a normal human in our world, we can't detox those things either. So now our inflammation starts to compound and compound and compound because of the things we're actually putting into our body and asking our body to try to figure out. Your body is tired of trying to figure out what the hell you're putting in it. It just wants a chicken breast. It just wants an apple. It just wants a potato. Do you see the difference there? Do you understand the difference there? I know you're a busy woman. I know there's a lot on your plate. I know. But I also know that you're fully capable of eating a whole food diet. And here's one thing I'm going to say about this, and I hope this resonates with you, is that it is your responsibility to put whole foods in your body so your body can function well. And so you can live out your purpose on this earth, right? You're like, how did we go from inflammation to the purpose on this earth? That's how. If you're not putting quality things inside of your body, how do you expect to produce quality work in this world? Right? Give your body what it truly needs, what it can recognize, so it can use your energy for other useful things instead of trying to detox these strange chemicals on these labels that are unnecessary and they are not helping you. Now, is eating a whole food diet easy? No, it's not easy because we live in a world where everything is quick, ready to go, already created for you. Just eat it and go. But it's simple. So if you need to attach something to this, know that this is actually very simple. And you can do simple things. You can do simple things responsibly. It doesn't have to feel easy, but you can do it because it's so simple. And once you get into the habit of eating mostly whole foods, you just get really good at it. And remember that no one gets good at anything until they practice it over and over and over again. This doesn't mean 1 week of practicing eating whole foods. It doesn't mean 2 weeks. It doesn't mean 3 weeks. It means over and over and over again until it becomes easy. Eventually it will. And we don't even have to use easy until it just becomes more of a natural thing because it's so simple. The next reason for weight loss resistance is stress. And inflammation and stress, they go hand in hand. When you have one, you have the other. Inflammation creates stress, stress creates inflammation. But let's talk more about your day-to-day stress because we just talked more about inflammation from processed foods, which also, if we want to just say stress from processed foods, we absolutely could here. So This is the stress that just has you running around like a chicken with her head cut off, right? Stress is everything and everything is important. It's everywhere. It's the stress where you never say no and you always to say yes to things you actually don't want to be saying yes to. It's the stress where your work-life balance are just non-existent. It's the stress where you create a nervous system response with each fearful thought you think. And you know this because you may be, walking around day to day, have a thought here, have a hot thought there, right? Like it's just going all the time, your mind is. And then all of a sudden you feel it in your body. For me, when I feel it, it's very tight, it's fast, it's quick, it's super uncomfortable, and it has me alert. And I know that I've just created a stress response from a thought that I have in my mind, right? I created it myself. This is the stress that you actually have most control over, and it comes actually with you being very vulnerable and willing to do things differently. I have women in my program who come in as perfectionists, who have zero boundaries, who say yes to everything, and who give everything to everyone else and are completely miserable in their lives. And then this spills over to their body and their health. And that's how they find me, because usually I'm helping women lose weight and rebalance hormones and stress and things like that. But this always goes over to the fact that they're probably miserable in their lives as well. This might be the missing piece for them. And they get to leave with autonomy over their day-to-day life and their health. Because when you fix one, the other will naturally fall into place. I have women who end up actually leaving their jobs and finding one that fills their cup and is respectful of their boundaries. And ultimately, this allows them to feel safe in their bodies because they're not creating a stress response over and over again. And when you feel safe in your body, when your body feels safe in your environment, your body does what you want it to do. Your stress is lower, your hormones are balanced, the weight starts to come off naturally. And then they start to say yes to their self-care. They create boundaries at home and outside of their home, and they just can take better care of themselves. And I often will have clients that just need a lot of deconditioning on how they speak to themselves. Because let's be honest, we're our own worst enemy. And what we really need to do is learn to love ourselves and our decisions. Because when you do that, it all falls into place. And then lastly, the biggest culprit of weight loss resistance is going to your mindset around your ability to lose weight and keep it off. You're likely someone who has tried this many times. Even if you do lose weight, you can't keep it off. You regain and lose the same 20 pounds over and over again, and it's just exhausting. It also reinforces the mindset that you already have. Nothing works for me. I'll always be this way. There's just no hope. And when you have this mindset, you'll always sabotage yourself. Your mind will always work to prove what you believe to be is true. Because if this is your belief, if you really believe this inside of you, and the way we know is that you are somebody who loses and gains, or you just never simply lose. So if this is your belief, your mind will play along for a while, right? So you start to lose the weight, but pretty soon it says, hey girl, this ain't you. This is actually kind of hard. I don't think we can keep this up. Let's just stop before we get to our goal because you can't stay there anyway. So this is a lot of wasted time and energy and effort. You've never been able to lose weight and keep it off. So you start to have these thoughts of you deserve this. It's not that bad. It's only one. Just have some chips. There's some chocolate in the fridge. It's okay. And these thoughts start to come in more often and start to become your normal again. And soon you're back to where you started and your mind says, see, I told you. And here's the other thing is that it also feels comfortable here. We'll often set goals for ourselves to set out and do it for the last time, not realizing that it requires discomfort. It is required discomfort to get to where you're going. We don't always sign up for discomfort, but we sign up for a goal, not realizing that you have to do one in order to get to the other. We get confused when we're not having fun with this. This is actually kind of hard work, emotionally more so than physically. And our mind wants to go back to comfort, to safety, to where it knows our normal internal temperature is. What you really need to do is make a decision that you're willing to feel emotional discomfort, to allow and to become a woman comfortable in her own body. This is the exchange. This is the requirement. If you're only willing to choose comforts, you'll always be choosing your current self. Ask yourself as you listen to this episode, is this what you want? Is this the version of you that you're okay with for the rest of your life? If not, I invite you to sign up for the Mindfully Well waitlist. We're getting ready to bring in the next cohort in April, and I'd love to have you there. You can head to the show notes to sign up for the waitlist, or if you follow me on Instagram at Melissa_Eich, just send me a DM that says waitlist, and I'll send you the sign up page. Easy peasy. All right, my friends, I hope you love this episode as much as I loved creating it, and have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week.